When a poor young boy began to dismantle engines to understand his operation, no one could imagine that he would become responsible for creating some of the most luxurious and desired cars in the world. With no money, no connections, and without any privilege, Frederick Henry Royce was born in 1863 in the humble city of Alwalton, England. From an early age, he faced extreme difficulties. Lost his father as a child, was forced to work to survive, and never had a complete formal education. But his curiosity and passion for engineering led him to an extraordinary way. What started as small mechanical work soon became a journey that would forever change the auto industry. Against all the odds, Royce perfected the art of engineering and years later founded a marque that would become synonymous with wealth, power, and exclusivity: Rolls-Royce. But how did a young man without resources challenge industry giants and build a legacy that is still a reference in luxury and excellence? In this video, you will know the impressive story of Frederick Henry Royce and discover the secrets behind the creation of one of the most prestigious brands in history. Henry was the youngest of 5 children. His parents, James and Mary, drove a flour mill. James had followed his father's footsteps, but he had no commercial skills. The profits were scarce, and for many years the Royce family lived in poverty. Things got worse, and in 1867, they had to go bankrupt. Hoping to create a better life for themselves, the family moved to London. By this time, 4-year-old Henry had her first job, a scarier bird on a local farm. Your payment, 6 cents per week. Then in 1872, the disaster occurred again. Henry's father passed away. Now all children have had to come in to survive, including 9-year-old Henry. He started selling newspapers and providing telegrams. Henry's early years of poverty had a deep effect on him, and when he turned 15, he had only been 1 year of school. As a young man, he started learning with the Great Northern Railway Works. His aunt offered him some financial support, and despite not having a formal education, Henry understood every opportunity to educate herself, studying algebra, French, and electrical engineering in her free time. But after 3 years, he was forced to leave due to lack of money. After leaving her learning, Henry worked briefly at a tool manufacturing company in Leeds, and then to the Electricity and Energy Company in London. In 1882, he moved again, this time to Liverpool, where he continued to work for the Electricity and Electricity Company. His true ambition was to do his full-time work engineering. Then at 22, he started a business with his colleague Ernest Claremont. They called him F.H. Royce and Company, and in the following years, they worked 24 hours to make electrical components, such as bells and dynamos. The company continued to expand, and in 1894, they were already making electric cranes as well. But Henry's interest began to take him elsewhere. Engine cars. While Henry Royce plays a vital role in Rolls-Royce's story, the name of the brand suggests that there is someone else that we should not forget, and this person is Charles Stuart Rolls. Born in 1877 in the rich square of London, Berkeley, Charles Rolls was the youngest son of Lord and Lady Langatach. Having developed a passion for engineering from the beginning, he studied mechanical engineering at Trinity College in Cambridge. Charles knew how to stand out. Having gained a reputation to stir the engines, he earned the nickname of Dirty Rolls. And during his studies, he was the first graduate to have a charger after traveling to Paris to buy a Peugeot Phaeton at the age of 18. At the time, this was extremely uncommon because most people haven't even heard of cars yet. After graduating in 1898, Charles began working on a steam yacht and then on the London and Northwestern Railway. He was more interested in motorsport, pioneer in sales, however, and with his father's financial support, he opened one of the first car dealers in Great Britain. In 1903, he appointed the company C.S. Rolls and Company. And over the next 2 years, he dedicated himself to importing and selling Peugeot and Minerva cars. The business was growing up, and Charles used the money to finance his sports activities. In addition to being an avid driver, pioneer, and pilot, he was also an anxious aviator. And as you can guess, these two hobbies are anything but cheap. Unfortunately for Charles, however, his lifetime passion would eventually cost him more than just his money. When running your company, F.H. Royce and Company Henry became increasingly interested in cars. In 1901, he decided to improve a two-handed, two-cylinder Decalville car he had bought. But he wanted more, and then decided to build a car on his own. Henry had an instinctive desire for perfection, and having found construction failures at Decauville, he promised to do better. In late 1903, he designed and built his first gasoline engine. In the following year, he drove his first 10-horsepower car from Rolls-Royce in the city. So far, 2 decades have passed since Henry has set up the company. His first car was a success, and he set out to create another in another of the 3 cars he had built. He gave one of his business partners, Ernest Claremont, and the other he sold to one of his shareholders, Henry Edmunds. And it was this Henry Edmunds that would eventually organize the meeting between Rolls and Royce. Henry Edmunds was a shareholder at Royce's company and Rolls' friend. After buying one of Royce's cars, he began to boast about it. At the time, Rolls was frustrated that he could only sell foreign imports in his company. Then Edmunds organized a meeting. Little did Edmunds know that the meeting would change the future of motorsport forever. While the Rollers have always preferred 3- and 4-cylinder cars, Royce's 2-cylinder vehicle made a big impression on it. Minutes after seeing him, he knew he had found what he was looking for. He took the motor car for a trip and agreed to sell as many motorcycles as Royce could build. The 2 men made an unusual pair. There was not only a huge age difference, but also an educational gap class. For beginners, Royce was 41 years old, while Rolls was only 26 years old. The young Rolls enjoyed a chic education in the prestigious Trinity College, while Royce's skills were widely self-consumed. And while Rolls spent his young adults running on his chic cars, Royce was working hard to survive. Would they be able to see the eye? While Henry Royce and Charles Rolls were 2 very different people, they also made a great duo. And the huge success with the cars led to the creation of Rolls-Royce in 1906. Then came the launch of the 6-cylinder Silver Ghost. Within a year, it was acclaimed as the best car in the world. Impressive. But so they also had Charles's partner to thank. Creating a brand requires vision. Then while Henry and Charles were busy building and selling cars, it was the partner Charles Claude Johnson who assumed the role of administrative director. He knew it was vital to expand the company's reputation. And the advertising genius he was, he orchestrated a series of stunts to promote the stillness and reliability of Rolls-Royce motor cars. One of his first ads for the 40 to 50 horsepower car promoted him as the 6-cylinder Rolls-Royce. It's not one of the best, but the best car in the world. With this announcement, Claude introduced the phase that would be forever associated with Rolls-Royce. It was incredibly effective. He demonstrated Rolls-Royce's superior performance and created a global demand for his world-class engineering. And Claude was so intense, an integral part of the company's success, which became known as the hyphen in Rolls-Royce. Obviously, marketing itself will only take you so far, and Henry and Charles dedicated themselves to offering the best quality possible. But it was especially Henry who had a special talent to strive to the limit when it was working. Henry was known as a hard-working worker who never ate correctly. Unfortunately, these habits severely affect your health. Surprisingly, he would survive business partner Charles for a few decades. Over the years, Charles Daredevil's interest in aviation was still growing. He even tried to convince Henry to develop a design for an aero engine, but Henry refused to continue living his aviation dreams. Charles bought a Wright Flyer aircraft with which he made over 200 flights. In 1910, he became the first person to make a double flight non-stop on the Mancha Channel. But just a month later, everything changed. During a flying exhibition in Bournemouth, Charles was killed in a plane crash. He was only 32 years old. He became the first British to die in a plane crash, and his premature death meant the end of Rolls-Royce's short-term partnership. Now Henry would have to continue his legacy on his own. Henry had an innate work ethic, and his innovative projects established the reputation of the Rolls-Royce of superior engineering and quality. It uncompromisingly convinced its basic principle of establishing the best design with the best materials and the highest levels of crafts. To put in your own words, fight for perfection in everything you do. Take the best and make it better. When it does not exist, project it. During World War I, the company expanded to manufacture something Charles once had: aero motors. And during the coming decades, the company has done extremely well. Unfortunately, Henry continued to fight his health, and in 1993, he succumbed to problems of the digestive tract. His death was caused by his early years of poor nutrition and a lifetime of overwork. He has spent much of the last years of his life as a semi-invalid, but that did not stop him from working. His enthusiasm never failed, and dedication to engineering prevailed, and he continued to work until the last moment. Literally, his last sketch was made from his deathbed a few hours before he died. He was 70 years old. Rolls-Royce remained a famous name in engineering. A Rolls-Royce is one of the most successful luxury cars that money can buy. And with over 130 dealerships spread across 40 countries, the brand is known far beyond Britain. Currently, Rolls-Royce is owned by BMW, and the brand is still known mainly for producing some of the most expensive cars in the world, such as Rolls-Royce Cullinan, Ghost, Phantom Wraith, and Dawn Thorstemüller. Utfoss has been the CEO since 2010, and his reign has proven to be essential in the company's success. But it's the sight of Sir Henry Royce and Sir Charles Rolls that really made Rolls-Royce what it is today, a symbol of peace, pure, non-adulterated wealth. Something tells me that the two men would be proud. Have you heard of the many people involved in the history of Rolls-Royce? And what would you like to know more about history? Share in the comments, and if you like this video, take a look at our channel for more inspiring business videos.